Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome along to race day in Austria. For the second time, we are back at the Red Bull Ring, but this time the clouds are around, and it just might rain. It just might. But I'm just going to actually tell Charlie that we're live now. He'll be on later on. Let me just do that. So he will know. He was last seen last night. Maybe he enjoyed England's emphatic victory over Ukraine just as much as I did. I know a lot of the drivers, along with Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Lando Norris, were all enjoying England's win last night. I think most of the country was. George Russell, what great qualifying. Qualifying P8 after Sebastian Vettel's penalty is applied. So yeah, it's fantastic for him. So pleased to see Williams get into Q3 for the first time since obviously 2018. Was it 2018? That was the last time we saw a Williams driver in Q3, and how great is it to see a Williams back again. So Charlie will be on just before 2 p.m. when the lights in Austria will go out for the second time. And it is looking, well, like it might be an exciting race. We've got the two Mercedes P4 and 5, and we got Max Verstappen out in front. But we're now going to hear from Stefano Domenicali.
There was a big meeting last night about power units. What can we expect? Are there going to be new suppliers in the sport? And if so, who?
Well, actually, I think it was a great meeting because we were discussing something serious and we were discussing something that is related to the future of Formula 1. Progress in place, and as always, before saying something official, in terms of the output, I would say that we are working in the next days and weeks to propose something that then, at the end of the day, we will present it, but good step in the right direction.
What about sort of agreeing? Because that's something that there always seems to be disagreements within teams. Some want to keep with this hybrid, some want to change. Is it going to change in any way from this hybrid era?
No, hybrid will be there. Of course, the focus in the future will be more on the hybridization of our engine, but the fundamentals of this engine will stay.
Biofuel, is that another big thing?
Yeah, absolutely. That is
hydrogen? What about hydrogen?
No, that's too early.
That's too early.
But, it's still sustainable fuel is at the center of the agenda for the future.
Well, something that hasn't come a moment too early for Mercedes or Lewis is the signing of his new contract, something I know you're delighted about. Just how important is his presence in the sport for Formula One, for Mercedes, for everyone?
I think it's great news. I mean, Lewis, nothing to add on what he has achieved. He's a sportman. He's a sportman that he has, still a lot of things to do on this business, but has given the Formula One an awareness of on a lot of topics that are out of the Formula One that gave us the possibility to make sure that also the Formula One world is connected to the real things of the world. So very happy, very delighted. It's a great asset and very, very.
What about today, Stefano? We've got a big race going on. Of course, it's the Mercedes against the Red Bull. And of course, we've got a McLaren in the middle of that. What are you expecting from today's race?
First of all, it's great to see all the people around. Magic. The atmosphere is back. And really looking forward also to see our friends in Silverstone. That would be incredible. So that is something that we don't have to forget. And you feel it already here. Even if we need to stay respecting the bubbles, is already something unique. The race will be, I would say for sure, Red Bull seems to be very strong, but the condition of the temperature could be, you see Friday, Saturday, different temps of the asphalt. Lando is in the middle. I'm sure that he wants to be on the attack mode, but as always, will be great.
And just a quick word on Silverstone in a couple of weeks' time, the new format. Everyone's thrilled and excited about it. What can we expect?
I'm expecting something different, and for sure a lot of attention on which everyone will have to focus because it's something new. I mean, Friday already there, action, and there's no time to prepare too much. You need to be there, preparing the qualifying for the sprint and then for the race. I think all the people that will come to Silverstone will enjoy.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, Stefano. It's always good to see you.
just-
lovely man, isn't he, Johnny?
He's just such a great sport, isn't he, Stefano Domenicali? I think everyone loves him really. It's It's just like I'm so pleased he's taking charge of Formula One from now on. You know, interesting though. What can Charles Leclerc do this weekend? That's what I'm gonna be interested to see that. Like, I think this could be like such an interesting race today. Equally for like Daniel Ricciardo, it's so hard seeing your teammate do so well and you're like P13. That would affect you like massively. But yeah, it's just like it's heartbreaking, isn't it, to see Lando extracting everything out of that car and he's really struggling. I mean, Sebastian, it was kind of really much he could do, but he did ruin Fernando's qualifying, didn't he? So I think that's why he got a penalty. But it was quite dangerous, wasn't it? Fernando was approaching at such high speed. It's confirmation George Russell moved up to P8. Now we got the We Racers 1 message.
We race to compete.
On the tracks, in the pits, as a sport. But we all race for something bigger.
It's time to race
For equality.
It's time we race for sustainability.
It's time we race to be global citizens.
It's time we race for equal access, opportunities, and representation.
Because sport can change the world, but it's up to us to make sure that change is for the better.
United, we are stronger.
Change starts with you.
It needs to come from your heart.
Keep working,
keep learning, keep on understanding.
we have a platform to shift change, starting little by little. When we're united for the same causes,
We have the opportunity to spread the right message.
If we all pull together, every single person has responsibility.
The best example is our own example.
we need to be responsible on what kind of mark we leave.
We don't have all the answers yet, but we can help find them.
Change starts here.
We race.
We race.
We race.
We race.
We race as one.
United in the desire for progress, the drivers now decide to take the knee or stand in the end racism recognition. And so obviously another fitting moment, and now it's time for the national anthem of Austria. Wow. We haven't done that. National anthem like that in a long while, have we? That is stop. National anthem. As the planes fly over the start finish straight of the Red Bull Ring. And it's quick.
It's much warmer. Lando Norris is joining us.
We're going to have a chat with Lando Norris now, actually.
There you go, please come and stand in the middle of us.
Yeah.
No, Johnny's fine.
Okay, cool. This is mine. Right, Lando, you've got a clear sight towards turn 1. How are you going to sort of deal with this race? You're just going to do the first lap, see where you are, and then decide how you're going to do the rest of the race?
In a way. The only thing I'm not liking at the moment is the sun coming out. That's not going to be good for us. But no, I think it's a race. I still want to go forward, so I want to do the best result possible and picking myself the best opportunity. That's being attacking and making the best of the first few laps. And there's only one position I can go forward, so now I'm going to go for it. So yeah, it's a tricky situation because I know there's a lot of very quick cars behind, and I don't want to compromise my own race. But yeah, it's a bit like I'll go for it and see where I end up, and then go from there.
That said, that the realistic target is P5. Is he managing expectations? Can he be more hopeful for that?
No, I think it's where I believe we're probably going to be at the end of the race. I think we made some improvements from last weekend, but not enough to challenge these guys, I'm afraid. But you never know. If there's a bit of drizzle, if there's a bit of rain or something, and if it cools down a bit, maybe we can have more of a shot. But I think on pure performance, we've not probably got what it takes, but we'll find out in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Lando. Go on to that. Thanks for your time. Okay, back to you, Karoon.
Now we're going to go to Karoon. He's on the grid.
The good news is I'm down here at Williams, and it's all calm. Look at those mechanics. There's no activity on the back of the car. They are happy. They're going into this Grand Prix. That car is going to be okay. So that is very, very good news for George Russell and the Williams team, chasing their first points, of course, together. Let's look further up here. I can see Pierre Gasly behind me. He's getting ready. Lando talks about the track temperature. Guys, it's gone up 10 degrees. 10 degrees since the pit lane opened just over half an hour ago. That is extraordinary. As soon as the sun's come through the cloud, the temperature's just gone sky high. These drivers, look at Gasly there, having a little snack bar, his last little treat to put a bit of something in his stomach, make sure he's got the energy and the sustenance for this Grand Prix. It's an intense track. It's a short track, the fastest lap time, in fact, on the Formula 1 calendar. But it is an intense track for these drivers. Yuki Tsunoda, you can see there, already got his helmet on. He's getting ready to go, as is Valtteri Bottas by the wall here. With it, if you look at the fans behind him, though, it is so wonderful to see the fans back. Let's wander further up and let's see if we can pick up a couple other bits and pieces. The Mercedes here of Lewis Hamilton. He's climbing aboard his car. This is a big day for him. He's going to try and clear Lando Norris as quickly as possible and get himself into a position to at least be in the fight with the Red Bulls. He wants to get ahead of Sergio Perez, even if he can't beat Max Verstappen today. He's got to score as many points as possible. Red Bull, look at the big cooling ducts here. They're firing through a whole load of dry ice into the radiator to try and cool the cars down as the temperature rises. Christian Horner looking pretty calm and chilled up at the front of the grid, but I suspect his leg will be twitching soon. And let's talk about Lando and McLaren. I know we've done a lot of that today, but we have to mention the fact they are on the front row for the first time in 9 years since Brazil 2012. The last time, of course, that Lewis Hamilton drove for them. He's there giving the view, the last one to encouragement from Zach Brown. It was 4th of July for Zach Brown, so as an American, he'd be expecting and hoping to celebrate something big. And finally, here we are, up at the front of the grid. That Red Bull engine is fired into life. Max Verstappen by the wall, getting his helmet on. The engine's fired up, the front tires are on the car already, the rear tires are off, and that's because they're just running through the systems, making sure the engine's gearbox sticks. Look at this, you can see they're pumping ice through. You can see the air coming, the dense, cold, icy air coming, and that's them just cycling the air all the way through the radiator of the car to try and keep it as cool as possible. They are very conscious of the fact that reliability is key. This is a day where Red Bull have to be reliable. They have to capitalize on the days when Mercedes aren't there to fight for them toe-to-toe for victory and take as many points as possible. It's a big, big day. But look at that ice lead. Look at these guys. They're still fighting it. We have hardly any time before the start of the race, and they're still chucking bits of ice into the car. We'll see.
Okay, Joey,
So
this run up that we can see so clearly.
right, so basically they're chucking plenty of dry ice in the cars. All of the teams are doing this basically just in case the temperature was to creep up. They will be under control, and they would be able to keep the car and the engine as cool as long as possible. And the fans, the Orange Army, and the Austrian fans are out in force doing the Mexican wave. How great is it to see the fans back this weekend? How much have we missed them? And I can't wait for Silverstone in 14 days' time. It's going to be absolutely epic. But let's have a Max will see all these fans, and it might just give him a bit more motivation. Not that he needs it, but we'll be back after the break for the Austrian Grand Prix.
For me, one of the best things about life is that we keep moving forward. We just
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome along to the Red Bull Ring. Same time, same place, just a different week for the Formula won BWT Grand Prix de Österreich then. We're back here in Austria in the Styrian Mountains for round 9 of the 2021 FIA Formula One World Championship. Then the Red Bull Ring became the first circuit in F1 history to host 2 races in the same season on more than one occasion. Fans have been encouraged to access the circuit by public transport with the allocation for over 5,000 bicycles this weekend. And let's have a look at our track length. 4.318 kilometers, 2.683 miles. 3 DRS zone time, 338.7 kilometers an hour on the top speed, and 10 turns. Elevation of 63 meters. And let's go back to 2015 then. Vettel and Verstappen and Maldonado. Verstappen locked up. Maldonado went past. And German, then we go back to last week. Gasly, Giovinazzi and Latifi up at turn 3. And Leclerc versus Tsunoda also last week at turn 4. They went all the way, wheel to wheel, down through turn 5. One thing that is different this week is we go a step softer in the compounds of tyres. We have the C5, the C4, and the C3 then. The soft being the C5, the medium being the C4, and the hard being the C3. And the wets and the intermediates if we need them. Max Verstappen takes pole alongside Lando Norris in second. Sergio Perez comes third with Lewis Hamilton in fourth. Valtteri Bottas is joined in fifth. He's joined by Frenchman Pierre Gasly in sixth. Yuki Tsunoda starts seventh with George Russell in eighth. He's best qualifying for Williams. Lance Stroll starts ninth with Carlos Sainz being promoted to 10th. And Vettel starts 11th after he serves his free-place grid penalty. He's joined by the second Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. Daniel Ricciardo starts 13th with Fernando Alonso 14th, who was hampered by Sebastian Vettel in Q2. Antonio Giovinazzi starts 15th with Kimi Raikkonen in 16th. Esteban Ocon in 17th with Williams driver Nicholas Latifi in 18th. Then it's the two Hasses on the back row. Mick Schumacher starts 19th and Nikita Mazepin will start 20th. He's getting used to putting up into that position then. But George Russell, it's his first top 10 start when driving for Williams. I'm going to add Charlie.
Yeah, I'm finally up now.
We can't see you, Charlie, so you're just going to have to talk for us today, okay?
I don't know if my camera's working again.
I don't think it is, Charlie. So
that's all right. You can add me to the stream, Jackie, if you want. I'll just have my camera off.
Yeah, you're on the stream, Charlie. Everyone can hear you.
Can you still hear me though?
I can still hear you.
Yeah,
Charlie.
That's great. I'll talk with my camera off. That will be fine.
So, Charlie, it was brilliant yesterday, wasn't it, to see George Russell finally get that Q3 appearance?
I'll tell you what, Jack, William, he's actually going to be starting 8th today because if you heard yesterday, Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin got a free-place grid penalty for impeding Fernando Alonso in the Alpine. So there's been some slight changes.
I think we can all understand why, Charlie, because if they hadn't made contact, it would have been an airplane crash, wouldn't it? It would have been a scary accident.
Yeah, it would have been. But at least, Sebastian Vettel has accepted the apology. He will start, I think 11th on the grid. I'm just checking, 11th or 12th. He
starts 11th, Charlie. But let's just go on to how great it is, Charlie, to see a full crowd at Austria this weekend.
It looks fantastic. I really hope that this event goes down really well with the public. I know it's a little bit risky for some people, but I think it will be a fantastic boost for Formula One, especially Red Bull before the race, going in a couple of KTMs around the circuit to greet the fans.
The formation lap has started, and someone was a bit slow to get away. I think it was one of the Mercedes. It was Lewis Hamilton, actually. It was a bit slow on the line. But hopefully, Charlie, we can provide the fans with some great racing this afternoon.
Let's hope so. I'm not sure what the weather's like in Austria. It looks a little bit colder than what it is.
The track temperature's risen about 10 degrees in the last half an hour, but the clouds it is very cloudy, but they're high clouds. They're not rain-threatening clouds yet. according to McLaren, they do say there might be a slight drizzle towards the end of the race.
Potentially.
It's something to beware of, isn't it? But I hope Lando Norris, Charlie, he does get this podium and he doesn't collide with Max in the first corner.
Oh, let's hope he doesn't, because Lando's a great driver. He has so much pedigree for his age. And, of course, used to be a former F2 runner-up as well, did Lando Norris.
He is. The flares are out. The atmosphere's epic. What could possibly go wrong?
As Jeremy Clarkson said, what can possibly go wrong? We just absolutely cannot tell you at the moment.
It's the shortest lap in the history, which means cars are already heading round to the final corner. So, it's a very important formation lap, isn't it, Charlie? Just because it's so short.
Yeah, we have to be aware that this is going to be very important. Track evolution is going to be a big issue here.
And there'll be no burnout celebrations this weekend either. That is now banned by Michael Massey, and you will receive a penalty if you do it. So really do advise you don't do a burnout celebration. What were you going to say, Charlie?
I just said that I saw Verstappen do that last week, and I think he did get a bit of a telling off from Michael Massey.
Well, Max Verstappen has almost just gone straight past his grid box.
Ooh.
I think he's just about got it stopped in time as the back end of the grid begin to form up. One bit of advice, Charlie, I'd hold your breath for the next few minutes or so whilst the cars try and navigate the first few corners. As the Alfa Romeo Kimi Raikkonen pulls into his grid position now. And then it's the Alpine of Esteban Ocon, the Williams of Nicholas Latifi, the two Hasses, and the medical car. Hold your breath now, because we get the green flag at the back. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights in Austria, and it's go, go, go. And Lando Norris has got a great start, and he's going to go. No, he doesn't quite. He's going to try the outside of Max Verstappen at turn 1. There's a lock up in the back, and they all managed to somehow make it through turn 1. But it's Max Verstappen from Lando Norris, from Sergio Perez, from Lewis Hamilton, from Valtteri Bottas, Yuki Tsunoda, and Yuki Tsunoda's going to try the outside of the Mercedes driver at turn 3. Here they go. Oh, there's almost contact. And I think Sebastian Vettel's been hit at turn 3, but he's carried on at the moment, Charlie.
Wow, good start as well. Lando Norris pressurising.
Head down to turn 4. Hamilton's going to go to the outside of Sergio Perez, but it doesn't quite work out. So a chaotic start, and it's still going for it. Sebastian Vettel goes round the outside of Charles Leclerc at turn 5 and turn 6, but Leclerc's going to try the inside at turn 7 and 8. Safety car deployed, Charlie. Someone's gone off.
Oh dear. I don't know who that is. I'm just getting the timings up right now for you.
Oh, it's an Alpine, Charlie.
Is that Ocon or Alonso?
Esteban Ocon, Charlie.
Ocon's gone off. Oh, what a shame. He's had an awful qualifying.
And he stopped on the straight towards turn 4. Let's see what happened then. Who did he make contact with? Oh, it's the Haas. And is it Schumacher? Oh, no, it's the Alfa Romeo on the inside. I think it's Kimi Raikkonen, Charlie. He's made contact with the Haas and the Alfa Romeo of Kimi Raikkonen, yeah.
Oh, so he's collided with Raikkonen, right. So that's going to be a safety car then.
That's interesting. There's no yellow flags out. Sorry, it's Giovinazzi collided with
Antonio.
The pits. Right, so safety car deployed then. It didn't take long, did it, Charlie?
No.
And there's a lot of smoke from the flares that the fans are setting off. And they're going to have to use the JCB to clear it up, Charlie, because of the suspension damage. It can't be pushed down the escape road.
No.
Pit road. As he climbs out, Charlie, he really has had a horrific time over the past 2 weeks, hasn't he?
Yeah, Esteban Ocon is under pressure now to keep his seat for next season out. Well, obviously, Ocon is staying at the team, but he's had a couple of difficult races so far.
There is a lot of smoke from the flares, Charlie, at that turn 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 section where that Verstappen grandstand is. They seem to be having a great time, don't they?
Nice to see the Austrian Orange Army in there out today supporting Max Verstappen.
So Verstappen's dealt with the standing start. But he's going to have to deal with the rolling start as well as we go on to lap 3 of the Austrian Grand Prix, albeit behind Bert Mailander, Charlie. He had time to put his feet up last week. He hasn't had time to put his feet up this week. Let's have a look at the start then. So it's an equal start between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. Norris is going to try the outside, but you know what, he just thinks it's best not to take the risk. And then Yuki Tsunoda really goes wheel to wheel with Valtteri Bottas up turn 2, and he's going to try the outside of turn 3, but it just doesn't work out. Bottas just gets his line right, and then it's at the back that it all kicks off, and Giovinazzi, Schumacher, and Esteban Ocon all collide. So Lando Norris then on board with him now. Norris got the quickest start, Charlie, of 4.6 seconds, 0 to 200 kilometers an hour.
Wow. Norris is in a good position here. Could he really challenge for the win today if he's got the pace?
So the Leclerc and Vettel did definitely make contact up at turn 3. Let's go on board. Oh yeah, it's on board with Nicholas Latifi, Charlie. We got a great view of that Latifi incident, but we can come back to that in a minute because the safety car is in this lap, and the cars are pretty much at the end of it. So here we go once more. Then Verstappen's going to weave all the way down towards turn 9. Lando Norris is going to follow him closely in pursuit. When is he going to go? He's still waiting. He might well go on the exit of turn 10 when Norris hits the apex. Is that what? That's exactly. No, he still hasn't gone. He's going to go right to the line, is Max Verstappen. Who's this going to benefit? Now he goes, and we are back green flag racing, and it might be his teammate that benefits because Sergio Perez and Lando Norris are going to go wheel to wheel. Perez goes to the outside of turn 1. He's pushed off the road, and they're going to go wheel to wheel all the way out to turn 2. They're still going at it. And Hamilton's going to get involved as well. Hamilton and Bottas do it. And Bottas goes wide. Hamilton, when they almost touch. And Bottas that goes round the outside of Lewis Hamilton at turn 3 and has gone up to P4. But Sergio Perez is still trying on Lando Norris. And as Lando Norris still holds that second place as they go for turn 4. And Perez has been pushed off. Perez goes into the gravel at turn 4. And it's all been ruined for Red Bull. And Hamilton's going to go back round the outside at turn 5. His teammate Valtteri Bottas, Charlie.
Great racing from all of the drivers there. Norris under pressure from drivers behind him. And I think Perez may have got a little bit hot-headed there with Lando Norris. But yeah, some great racing between all the drivers. Team radio for Fernando Alonso from Alpine.
So let's have a look at this incident again between Norris and Perez. Yeah, Perez just goes off, and let's listen to Perez's radio.
So I guess penalty will come very soon. I mean, it was amazing what he did.
Alonso's not happy with someone.
Charlie, it wouldn't surprise me if this is going to be under investigation by the stewards for forcing another driver off the track here.
Potentially. Hamilton's radio is going to just play Hamilton's radio.
It's all up to you, but strap 5 or 6 whenever he starts. Currently in strap 6.
Right, so Lando Norris is gonna be under pressure now from the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas. Hamilton done a great move on his teammate Charlie, all the way round the outside.
Perez has dropped to 10th, Jack, on my timing screens.
Yeah, he did. That was when he went into the gravel, Charlie.
Oh, so he's gone off. Oh, that's horrendous.
So the gap is half a second between Norris and Hamilton as Verstappen does the fastest lap. Bottas radio. So Valtteri's been told to get past Lando as quickly as he can once Lewis gets through. But DRS, crucially, has still not been enabled yet, be enabled at the end of this lap. Because it's 3 laps from the safety car restart, because we didn't actually get a full racing lap in. Race control then, that pit entry incident involving car 99 is under investigation for overtaking Charlie before the safety car line. So Giovinazzi has overtaken before the safety car line.
No. That is a no-no. That will be a penalty coming for Antonio Giovinazzi.
And it's
called do not overtake under safety car conditions.
It is, yes.
The higher the track temperature, the more it might push some of these cars going to a race. But at the moment, 34.5 degrees is pretty much how it was.
Lando has got Lewis very much in his way. Race control. DRS now has been enabled. And that might just give Lewis enough to go up to turn 2. Hamilton's within the DRS range, Charlie. Is this going to be it towards turn 2 and turn 3? I think he's just going to be that little bit too far back, but he might be close enough if he can get a good exit from turn 3 to have a go into turn 4 then. Let's have it. We've come away from that battle for the moment, but we might get a view of it in a minute. No, he's still behind him, but there's a DRS train forming, and it's going to be Yuki Tsunoda who's at the front of it from Sebastian Vettel. We could see a few overtakes in a few laps' time, Charlie.
Yeah, it looks like it's getting close. George Russell currently 12th at the moment. He hasn't had the best of starts by what I've been hearing. He's dropped out the top 10.
I think he was hampered by that incident up at turn 3, and it's a time penalty, Charlie, of 5 seconds for Antonio Giovinazzi for overtaking before the safety car line.
Don't blame the stewards for giving him that, because what he done was absolutely illegal. It violates the regulations.
So basically what he's done is he's overtaken on the safety car conditions at the safety car restart. So you can only overtake once the leader crosses the safety car line, which is the start-finish line. The fact is, Charlie, Max Verstappen hadn't crossed the start-finish line when he overtook someone.
No, I don't know who Giovinazzi overtook, but he is going to get a penalty.
So it's a time penalty, which means he can serve it at a pit stop. So he hasn't got to make come into the pit lane an extra time. He can serve it in his normal pit stop. He has to wait 5 seconds before they can work on the cars, on his car.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad, is it, really? It's a race record, but it's not a time penalty. That's worse.
No, we're keeping an eye on Vando at the moment as well, because he's also under investigation as well.
And this battle between Tsunoda, Stroll, Vettel, Ricciardo, Perez, and Leclerc is getting very tasty indeed. Leclerc was 2 tenths faster than Perez on the last lap. Perez currently sits in 10th after he was put into the gravel by Lando Norris.
Was there any contact between Perez and Norris? That's the question. I didn't see the onboards.
No, I don't think there was, Charlie, which is why the stewards have deemed it a racing incident.
That's good, but that's in fact Perez, though, has been hampered by it all, and he's currently sitting down in 10th.
The Red Bulls, Charlie, they do love that gravel trap at turn 4, don't they? We've seen a few of them end up there in over the past few years.
Yeah.
Right, Hamilton's getting really close to the back of Norris now, half a second for in the middle part of the lap. He's going to be really close going onto the start-finish straight then, and it might just be too close enough to get the job done. We haven't had any track limit violations yet. That's good. And Hamilton's getting the slipstream. He's getting the DRS. He's getting the toe, but he's still going to be a few car lengths back by the time he gets to turn 1. But this might be it. Towards turn 2 and turn 3. Is he going to be close enough at turn 3? No. And he's saying it's very hard to follow is the Mercedes driver, but so it's crucial that he gets past Lando Norris. And is it going to be at turn 4? He's going to try the outside at turn 4, Lando Norris, but it isn't quite close enough. He might do the switcheroo at turn 5. No. Another 2 meters of straight, Charlie. He'd have been past the McLaren.
Yeah, Norris is holding on for dear life, but Hamilton being stuck behind Norris has allowed Verstappen to pull away in front.
What has happened to Bottas, Charlie? He's lost about 2 seconds.
Really?
And Lando and Lewis are battling as well. So I don't know what's happened to him.
Maybe he's had a
dropped
little...
off because of the dirty air? I don't know.
He's either got into dirty air or he's made a mistake somewhere on the track. And he's just lost 2 seconds.
He might have done. Verstappen's just on the fastest lap of 1:09.0. Right, Hamilton's much closer. Coming out of turn 1 this time. Is he going to be close enough though? Up towards turn 3. No, he's not once more. But he needs to get a good exit. Oh, he's locked up at turn 3, Charlie. And he's gone straight on. I don't think he's lost a huge amount of time. But that will mean he won't be able to get past Lando at turn 4 this time around. And all that hard work has just been undone.
Ah, he's had a mistake down at turn 3. At least he should be able to recuperate himself.
He should, but Norris
and he could have black spotted the tyres as well.
Norris has gone wide at turn 6. But let's have a look then. Norris has ridden the bumps, Charlie, and something's flown off his McLaren as he went over the bump at turn 1. Sparks were flying, and he might have some floor damage. I'm not sure about that, but we're seeing in the long-term effects on the race of what happens. But right, here we go again. Battle regional. This time that Hamilton gets on the bumps. And it's the sparks that fly from the Mercedes this time, not the McLaren. DRS once again then. And whilst this is happening, Max Verstappen is extending his lead lap by lap. Is Hamilton going to be close enough at turn 4? No, it's a fast car, the Mercedes, Charlie, but he can't follow.
He's struggling to follow another car. This is hampering Hamilton's quest for the win here today.
You could potentially do it in the pit stops, couldn't you, and go for a 2-stop. Nice radio. Oh, so Norris has been told, Charlie, if you're degrading your tyres, let him through. If you're not degrading your tyres, then try to hold him up. It's one of those dilemmas. If you Lando, just let him through and accept you're going to lose one position, but it's not.
Yeah.
Like, you might still get 3rd place at the end of the race. Tsunoda's come in, and Lando Norris and Sergio Perez is now under investigation from the stewards. They've decided to have a proper to reinvestigate it, Charlie. Have they been given a new camera angle, maybe, that they haven't seen before?
That's interesting.
So Tsunoda's come in to the pits, and he's gone all the way down to last, 19th position, because Esteban Ocon is out of this race. So it'll be interesting to see what the stewards call on this for the second time around. Bottas radio. So Bottas has been told plan A. What is plan A, Charlie?
Potentially a 2-stop or maybe a 2-stop.
Well, Mercedes did say yesterday that their plan was to send Bottas as long into the race as they could.
Maybe a 1-stop plan A.
Someone's in the pits. It's that AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly's come in.
AlphaTauri are going for maybe they're going for a 2-stop. AlphaTauri.
They've gone on the hard. It's slow, Charlie. It's slow. 3.7 seconds. And who is that? Is that the 2 Aston Martins, Charlie, are going to have it out now towards turn 4? It's going to be better with DRS, and It might be Leclerc's going to try Sergio Perez as well. Leclerc's going to go to the outside at turn 4, but Perez is going to fight back at turn 4, and Charles Leclerc is going to have the switcheroo as they go to turn 5. It's Charles Leclerc takes 10th place, from 8th place, sorry, from Sergio Perez. That was a lovely move from the Monegasque driver.
Perez has just overtaken Sergio. Perez and Leclerc's overtaken Perez. That's a bitter.
And Perez went wide at turn 3, Charlie.
Oh, he's struggling.
Did that just invite Leclerc onto the back of Perez? Yes, it did. And then Perez tried to fight back turn 4, but he missed the apex, and that gave Leclerc to do the to exit the switcheroo towards turn 5 and 6, and got that job. Very nicely done indeed.
AlphaTauri are at the back at the moment. We're going to keep an eye on their progress on the hards.
Right, Stroll's come into the pits, and he's come out in 19th, so that's promoted Yuki Tsunoda up to 18th. And Daniel Ricciardo thought about it on Lance Stroll, but didn't quite do it. And Sergio
pitted as well.
Yes, Stroll's in. Hamilton Bottas radio now.
Wow.
So both Mercedes drivers, Charlie, being told that Norris should get a certain penalty. That's interesting.
I don't know what the penalty is going to be. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, I assume it will be the same as what Lewis Hamilton got last year. A
5-second time penalty.
Time penalty. Yes. And is that maybe why Hamilton's just backed off a bit? Still stands at half a second though. But is that why he's just not risking it if he knows Lando might get a time penalty? Then equally what happens if Lando doesn't get the time penalty and he hasn't got past him, you know? So many dilemmas in this race at the moment.
Yeah.
Hamilton's asked for more power then. So he's asking more power from his W12, and Daniel Ricciardo is going to go to the outside of Sebastian Vettel at turn 4, but the Honey Badger just couldn't quite get through as Verstappen does another fastest lap.
Yes, and the gap between the front runners and this gap.
Gasly's gone down to 16th because he's pitted. So the cars that have pitted are Giovinazzi came in on that one because of damage. Gasly, Tsunoda and Stroll. Well, Giovinazzi will obviously have to pit again. Interestingly, Charlie, Charles Leclerc has been told to lift and coast because his SF90 is getting a bit too hot.
Really? Interesting.
Right, Yuki Tsunoda is under investigation for crossing the white line when at pit entry, Charlie. So that means as he's coming to the pits, he's gone over the white line, back onto the racetrack, and come back over the white line again. You're not allowed to do that, as Daniel Ricciardo is going to go to the outside of Lance Stroll at turn 4, and he goes round the outside. The Honey Badger, Charlie, has got his overtaking boots back on.
Yeah, just checking again, who's that driver under investigation for crossing the pit lane?
Yuki Tsunoda.
Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. Oh, that's just crazy. Oh, he's down in 18th at the moment after making his pit stop.
It's turned very, very dark at the Red Bull Ring as Sebastian Vettel now is going to come in. I wonder if those soft tyres have just about had enough of the Red Bull Ring and they're going to be put in the black sack now, and he's going to get a brand new set of, I don't know, it's going to be hard tyres. Yes, it is hard tyres. It's a good stop from the Aston Martin crew, 2.5 seconds, 2.4 seconds. And it's going to come back out in 17th place. Yes, 17th place is where Sebastian Vettel will re-enter the Red Bull Ring. But at the moment, Charlie, it is cruise control for Max Verstappen.
Yeah, he's dominating this race again. Very comfortable.
Stroll's got past Mazepin as well at the back. And someone else made an overtake. No, they didn't. So Lando Norris is saying his tyres seem okay. Lewis Hamilton said his tyres are dipping off a bit at the back as Vettel gets past Mazepin. But Hamilton is quite close now to turn 3, but he gets a dollop of oversteer. That Mercedes, Charlie, is looking a real handful up at that corner.
Seems like he's struggling with just brake balance, maybe struggling to keep the car pointing in the right direction.
He's just on the fastest sector 1 as Lewis Hamilton. And he takes the wider line at most of the corners round here. I wonder if we should just try taking the tighter line at corners like turn 3, because Max Verstappen takes the tighter line and it clearly works for him. So should Lewis give it a go next year, maybe?
Maybe.
So Hamilton's saying he's going to need rain or he's going to need Burt Mylander out on track once more to saviour his race. Does he try and go long and hope for the safety car?
Possibly. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how Hamilton gets on with this, to be honest.
Oh, Hamilton's going to try turn 3, but Lando Norris has been handed a 5-second time penalty for forcing another driver off the track at turn 4. Hamilton's going to try the inside at turn 4, and this time, where Lando Norris pushed another driver off the track, which gave him a 5-second penalty, this time the British driver gets it done.
So Hamilton's gone through, but he's now, what, 9 seconds off Verstappen now?
You're right, Charlie. He is 9 seconds off Verstappen. But Norris radio then. And Norris is saying Hamilton's rear brakes are on fire. I mean, how can Lando Norris have seen that, Charlie, at 200 miles an hour?
Interesting. Hamilton's rear brakes are on fire. Does that mean Mercedes got an issue with the brakes? I don't know. Interesting.
I mean, they're not smoking. They look all right.
Maybe his brake temperatures are getting a bit high.
Hamilton radio. Hamilton's just said such a great drive at Lando over the radio, Charlie. Lando didn't make it easy, did he, to let Lewis through? It took 21 laps.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Lando Norris saw, but Lewis Hamilton's brakes look perfectly fine to me. So maybe Lando was just doing a bit of the old bluffing.
Hamilton's radio again.
I'm amazed Lando Norris actually got a look at it as it went past.
I think Lando knows.
Yeah, and that Norris has said, his brakes are on fire. Just on the comment came through on the reports there.
Charlie, if I'm kind of honest, I think Lando's penalty is a bit harsh from the stewards. Because Ricardo radio, let's have a listen. So Danny Rick saying the pace is good. But Charlie, I didn't agree with Lewis Hamilton's penalty last year. I don't agree with Lando Norris's penalty this year. I think the first decision that the stewards made, which was not to look at it, was the right one. Then when they've looked at it again, they've deemed it a penalty worthy.
No, it's crazy. Just crazy.
I mean, from a fan's point of view, it kind of ruins the race. It's a time penalty for Yuki Tsunoda as well, 5 seconds. So the time penalties are flying in left, right, and centre at the moment. Yuki Tsunoda got a 5-second time penalty for an infringement at pit lane entry. Let's have a look at this Lando Norris incident again with Sergio Perez then. They're wheel-to-wheel, Charlie. There's no contact either. Perez is just one wide in the corner. Let's have a look.
That's ridiculous.
No, there's definitely no contact. And if I'm honest, Charlie, I think he's left in racing room.
Oh, what a! Just that's just stupid. They need to just I think they need to. If Norris should not have been given that penalty in the first place, just a racing incident.
I mean, it looked to me that like Perez should have either backed out of it or accepted he was going to go into the gravel.
Oh, George Russell team radio.
Get some feedback on tyres. How are the tyres?
The rears are come back to me. Feel like a yo-yo, to be honest.
And thing is, Charlie, Lando had the race in line. It was his corner.
Oh,
Isn't it? It's very harsh on Lando.
Yeah, it is. I haven't. I've got to watch the onboards, and I'll have to have a proper look at it. But it's a bit harsh, I think, from the stewards.
I mean, I haven't seen the onboards of it yet. I'm only getting told what is happening. But it sounds harsh from what is being said. As Gasly gets past Giovinazzi on the timing screens now as well. So he must have done that up at turn 3, the French driver.
Potentially.
And Valtteri Bottas is now closing the gap to Lando as well. So it is interestingly, Charlie, Charles Leclerc's out of DRS range now on Daniel Ricciardo, and Sergio Perez, who is behind him, is within the DRS range. So Leclerc could be in a bit of bother here, couldn't he? And he might have the pedal on his towel. Sergio Perez is a bit too far back up towards turn 3. We'll have a look and see the Verstappen radio now. And Verstappen complaining, Charlie, that he's got no tyre life left. You're out in the front, Max. Does it? No, he's got to take it easy, hasn't he, Max? Don't take the risk. I mean, 10 and a half seconds now is the gap. It's almost approaching 11 seconds for Max. Who blinks first? Will Mercedes go long, or will they be the ones that blink first to try and bring that gap down? Even if it's only by a few seconds, it could just be one of those things, couldn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, after this event today, we head to Silverstone for the British Grand Prix in 2 weeks. So, it's anyone's call here.
We do, Charlie, and Lando radio. So Lando Norris, Charlie, has turned into a Sebastian Vettel. And so Yuki Tsunoda tried the outside of Antonio Giovinazzi, but Lando Norris has replicated Sebastian Vettel's radio message of 2019, where, according to the stewards, Charlie, he made an unsafe re-entry to the track. Lando saying he did nothing wrong, there was nothing he could do. So just having a look at Yuki Tsunoda's incident, he's well over the line, Charlie. Unfortunately for Yuki Tsunoda, it's clear cut.
Yeah, that's definitely a penalty. Yuki Tsunoda's infringement.
As Verstappen Mick Schumacher gets out of the way for Max Verstappen. We're starting to get to that stage where we get the lap cars now. It's looking quite dark on the exit of turn 1 and towards the pit lane. If you weren't with us last week, you wouldn't have known that it did actually rain about 5 minutes after the end of the race. It absolutely fell down at the red lane about 5 minutes after the race. If only it could have clipped the end of the race, Charlie, to make it a bit more exciting.
Yeah, certainly.
I just fear this race is going to need another safety car to spice it up a bit. And someone's gone wide. It's Daniel Ricciardo, Charlie. He went off at the last corner and through the dust I don't think it cost him a huge amount of time, but Charles Leclerc is well and truly on Danny Rick's tail now.
Yeah, I think Ricciardo's struggling
on his medium tyres. It wouldn't surprise me if we start seeing some pit stops now or within the next few laps, because the pit window, if you're on the medium tyres, according to AWS, is now open. And Ricciardo's got Leclerc, Perez, Sainz, and George Russell was in 9th, Charlie. It's an incredible drive since he had a bit of an unlucky opening lap, but he's fought back, Charlie, and he's got past Kimi Raikkonen as well.
That's great. That's good news to hear. Can Russell stay on track today and get some points for Williams?
It would be fantastic, wouldn't it? Because he's had rotten luck when he's been in the points before with Williams. Oh, and Mercedes as well, to be fair.
Mm.
So Verstappen is extending his gap by about 2 to 3 tenths a lap, Charlie. It's not much, but over 71 laps, that is a massive margin, isn't it? Charlie, you're muted. Is something gone wrong with you? Verstappen saying his brakes are getting a bit iffy, but they seem to be under control at the moment. Then they're under control now, but will they be under control at the end of the race? We'll have to have a look. So Lando Norris has done 30 laps on his medium tyres. So has Lewis Hamilton. So has Max Verstappen. And as Mazepin comes in now, but obviously he has to serve that penalty, Lando Norris, at the next pit stop. Let's have a look at Daniel Ricciardo again as he gets over the dust. Does he lose some carbon fibre as well? We'll have a look at that.
I saw that. I wonder if Daniel was just making an adjustment on the steering wheel and just got caught off guard there. But
I mean, it looked like he was making an adjustment on his steering wheel, so maybe just got caught off guard as Perez thinks about it on the clerk at turn 3, but he can't quite get it done.
You see Verstappen where he is. He's coming into turn 1. Sergio Perez, if you think on the first lap with Verstappen for P2, he's only in turn 4.
Perez up at turn 4 as Verstappen is coming up towards turn 2.
This is where he's stuck at the moment, lapping at the 1 minute 10. His teammate lapping about 7 tenths of a second.
Perez is being Verstappen's lapping about 7 tenths quicker than his teammate Sergio Perez, who currently sits in 7th after his incident with Lando Norris, which cost Lando penalty. Someone's come in to the pits. It's Daniel Ricciardo in McLaren. So McLaren blink in that battle, and the medium tyres are going to be off, and it's going to be the hard tyres. Brand new settlement going on. Good stop from the guys in orange, 2.3 seconds. And where is he going to come out? Is he going to stay in front of Latifi? It's going to be tight, but it just about will. As what's that? Did you have an anti-golf? He's lost about 2 or 3 positions.
As they stand by at Ferrari,
and it looks like Mercedes are out in the pit lane. So who is coming in for Mercedes? Lando Norris is coming in. He will have to serve his 5-second penalty. So he'll have to stop for 5 seconds. Then they can change his tyres. And it's Bottas coming in for Mercedes.
But of course, they have to wait 5 seconds because of that penalty that he picked up.
And did Bottas come in? Yes, he did.
Because of that penalty, well, Valtteri Bottas has managed to jump Lando Norris.
And he's jumped Lando Norris in the pits as Valtteri Bottas. So Bottas promoted to 3rd place on the road. And Lando Norris has just come out in front of Leclerc. Russell is in the pits now as well. And the Mercedes crew are back out. So I think Lewis Hamilton is going to be coming in as well. And Russell has gone all the way down to 16th position. Hamilton's been told to box. Now into the turn 3 has rather paid back for George Russell as Hamilton makes his way in, stops on his marks, and it's a good stop from the Mercedes crew. 2.2 seconds then. It's a fantastic stop from the Mercedes crew. And it's going to come back out onto the racetrack once he navigates the tight pit lane entry then.
I'll wash my hand. I'll wash my hand.
But Verstappen will be in at the end. We're hearing Verstappen's coming in at the end of this lap as well. Yeah, Verstappen's in, Charlie. Oh, and almost goes over the white line himself at the pit lane exit. And if he comes in, let's see what the stop is from Red Bull. It's a good stop from the Red Bull crew. And it's, what was the stop time? It was a fantastic stop, Charlie, from the Red Bull crew.
Wow.
We still don't have the time. I think it was a sub 2 seconds pit stop. He spent 21 seconds in the actual pit lane itself. A sub 2 second pit stop, Charlie. And Sergio Perez is coming in. The gap still stands at 12.8 seconds in Max Verstappen's favour out in front. As Perez comes in, it's slow for Sergio, Charlie. 3.1. And he's going to come out, Charlie, behind Daniel Ricciardo. And he's going to come out ahead of Latifi. So that's crucial for Sergio to get out ahead of Latifi, isn't it, Charlie? And we can't quite hear Charlie for whatever reason at the moment, but we'll get
apologies, I am texting someone. Yeah, I hope it's a good stop for Red Bull. Verstappen now on hards. Hamilton and Bottas also pitted. I think Lando has pitted as well, but has a 5-second time penalty. It's going to be very interesting.
Right, Yuki Tsunoda's goes really late on the brakes, Charlie, and goes to the outside of Nicholas Latifi at turn 4. As Bottas does the fastest lap. Let's have a look at what happened to Perez then. It just has some problems getting the green light on, I think. Or was it left rear? Yeah, it was left rear was a front left, sorry, was a bit slow going on. As Bottas has just done the fastest lap. Could Mercedes potentially throw the 2-stop here for Hamilton and Bottas?
They could do.
Latifi pits. Hamilton radio. And Hamilton asking how is Max so far ahead?
I don't know. He's just got a good pace.
I think he's built that gap, Charlie, whilst Hamilton was battling with Lando.
Yeah.
Just shows how much those 20 laps cost Lewis, doesn't it? Held up by the British driver.
He needs a bit of rain. He needs something in this race to try and put Red Bull off their stride a little bit. So at the moment, it is very comfortable for Max Verstappen.
And Hamilton needs it to rain, doesn't he? For his own race, Charlie. He needs it to rain. Or he needs a safety car, one of the two. If he got a safety car, it would prove quite nicely, wouldn't it? Because it would close the pack up, and then he can give Verstappen a good go. So a safety car would definitely do the Mercedes duo quite nicely at the moment.
Yeah.
That Bottas radio, let's have a listen. Oh, Charlie, we're hearing Lewis Hamilton has picked up damage to his W12 from using the exit curbs at turn 10. That's the
that's one of those horrible sausage curbs that he ran over.
Has Lewis lost some of his front wing? I haven't seen the footage of it yet. I'm sure we get a replay at some point of what exactly is happening.
I mean, Jack, I think, didn't he lose a part of the front wing there a couple of years ago in 2019?
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one, yeah. Yeah, he finished 5th in the end of him.
I'm starting to wonder whether Mercedes mean turn 9 because...
Oh, turn 9, yeah, that's the ring.
There's no reason as to why you would lose the front wing, some of your front wing there or bodywork.
Interesting. It's turn 9, that's Jochen Rin, where he's lost some of his front wing.
And it's bomb Hamilton radio, let's have a listen. And it's the rear of the car, Charlie, that's got the damage.
Oh, that's the rear.
Is it vibration and they're experiencing vibration with the tyres and they're assuming it's damage? I haven't seen anything fly off. There's no debris on the track to assume that he's lost something. But obviously with the cost cap, Charlie, you can't just go throwing away front wings, throwing away rear wings anymore, can you?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if Hamilton pulls the pit stop clear of Lando, because Bottas with team orders should get out of the way for him. But he'd be pitting now 35 seconds behind us. Bossel's going to go for the move on Lance Stroll, but Stroll tries to turn in on him, Charlie, at turn 3, and they had to get out of it, but Russell just about gets through. But Stroll tried turning in on him, Charlie, at turn 3. That almost is.
It's crazy. Jesus.
Let's have a look at it again. He goes up the inside, and either Stroll doesn't see him, but he definitely turns to the right. And someone's in the pits. It's an Alfa Romeo of Kimi Raikkonen. And on the plans, Charlie, George Russell was on a 1-stop. Both of the Aston Martins were on a 2-stop. Let's have a listen to Ricciardo's radio. It was a short radio, but he's being told to get past Gasly as quickly as he can. Remember, Charlie, Ricciardo has pitted.
Yeah.
And he's going to try the outside of Pierre Gasly at turn 4, but he decides it's better to be safe than sorry. Ricciardo's on much fresher tyres than Pierre Gasly, so you would expect Danny Rick to get through in the closing stages. We've just about hit half distance. We're at 39. And it's always quite a quick race here at the Red Bull Ring. But this seems to be an exceptionally quick one. So this could get tasty. It's Pierre Gasly. He's been closely followed by Daniel Ricciardo, Sergio Perez and Charles Leclerc. It's actually turning into quite an entertaining Austrian Grand Prix, Charlie, here.
Still got a little way to go, so things could change.
They could very much change. And will the weather also play a part towards the end of the race? Ricciardo's getting closer to Pierre Gasly, but again, he's just that bit too far back into turn 4. Sergio Perez runs wide, and so does Pierre Gasly at turn 4 as well. This could give Ricciardo a good run if he can hold it down to the straight, but Ricciardo's gone wide at turn 5, and Leclerc and Perez are nose to tail through as they just head towards Jochen Rindt at turn 9. Let's see. Is it going to be Leclerc, Perez, or Ricciardo or Gasly who exceeds from this battle? Gasly's holding on, Charlie, for his life at the moment from these three behind him.
Gasly's doing well to keep Perez, Leclerc behind him.
We're on board with Sergio Perez. He doesn't quite get close enough to Daniel Ricciardo, but Charles Leclerc is getting really close behind. Is he going to be close enough? Is Charles Leclerc? Leclerc's going to try the outside. Oh, they almost touch. And Leclerc's in the gravel. And they did touch, Charlie. They made contact. And Charles Leclerc was pushed off into the gravel at turn 4. It's a replica incident of what happened with Sergio Perez and Lando Norris a bit earlier.
Well, Leclerc's going to drop down the field after that little skirmish in the gravel.
And Perez from wide, Charlie, went straight into Charles Leclerc.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's tie-to-tie contact. It wouldn't that is penalty worthy, Charlie, from Sergio Perez.
Oh, not again.
If they give Lando Norris a penalty, that is without doubt a penalty. But interestingly, AWS predicts Bottas will catch Hamilton in 2 laps.
Wow. Hamilton's struggling.
He really is, Charlie.
What will Toto Wolff say to both of their drivers? That's going to be the question.
I think it will be race, but keep it clean. Leclerc radio. And the turn 4 incident, Charlie, involving Sergio Perez and Charles Leclerc is under investigation for forcing another driver off the track. Surely it's got to be a penalty.
Got to be now, I reckon.
I know I said Lando shouldn't have got a penalty, but it's a completely different incident. Perez completely missed his braking and went straight into and made wheel-to-wheel contact with Leclerc, which pushed him into the gravel. And Sergio Perez
5-second time penalty for Perez.
5-second time penalty. You're right, Charlie. So it's a 5-second time penalty, so he can serve it at the end of the race if he doesn't pit again. So it'll be added to his race time if he doesn't pit again. If he pits again, he will have to wait 5 seconds before his pit stop. And Perez's afternoon, Charlie, has just gone from bad to worse.
Sainz in 5th for Ferrari. That's an interest. Sainz in 5th for Ferrari. That's interesting.
It is, Charlie. And don't write Leclerc off because he's coming back. He managed to hold position from Yuki Tsunoda. So we have to... and Perez is now getting close to the back of Daniel Ricciardo. If I was McLaren, I would say Perez has got a penalty. Let him through, but stay within 5 seconds.
Maybe.
And Ricciardo's going to go for it on Gasly at turn 4, but he, again, just can't quite do it. It's similar to the Lando Lewis battle, where Danny Rick just cannot get past the AlphaTauri. It's the widest AlphaTauri I think everyone's ever seen. But let's have a look at this incident then involving Sergio Perez and Charles Leclerc. Perez completely misses his braking zone, runs straight into the side of the Ferrari driver. Lucky both drivers didn't pick up any damage because actually it wasn't tyre to tyre. So they are really lucky, Charlie, they haven't got any damage there.
Very, very lucky. It reminded me a little bit of the Hamilton and Albon collision last year when Albon went round the outside and there was just no room and Hamilton spun him off the circuit. It's very, very reminiscent of that. Just didn't cause a crash though.
It is, Charlie, and the driver meeting at Silverstone will be very interesting. Hamilton saying he's lost a lot of his rear end. I assume he's talking about the damage, Charlie. He's saying he can't go any faster and he's losing time. As Gasly and Ricciardo are going to do battle once more, but Perez is also now on the back of Ricciardo, and whilst all of this is happening, Charles Leclerc is going to join the party again as well.
It's getting really close.
And Lando Norris, Charlie, is half a second quicker than both of the Mercedes on the last lap.
Wow.
With Lando still at a podium.
Hello, Lando.
Well, what is Lewis Hamilton's problems? Is it that there's a bit of damage to the car? Is it just pure pace? Is it that the tyres are going off a little bit?
Ricciardo's it's really close at turn 3. This could be Ricciardo's best option towards turn 4, which has been the main overtaking point this afternoon. And Ricciardo is going to try the outside of Pierre Gasly, and he just can't quite do it. But he might get the switcheroo. No. It was closer than he's ever been before, Charlie, but it just wasn't close enough.
It wasn't quite there in the end.
And Perez Leclerc is to be resumed at the battle. Leclerc did end up in the gravel. He got out of it, and he's going to fight the Red Bull driver once more. But he knows, Charlie, what his consequences are going to be if he goes a bit too hard this time, isn't he?
Yeah.
And, Charlie, Gasly's coming to the pits.
Gasly's pitting. Wow, that's a shock. That's interesting.
Which has left Ricciardo without DRS, and it's going to leave Sergio Perez right on his tail and Charles Leclerc. Perez goes deep, and Leclerc's going to try the inside of turn 3. He can't quite do it, but is he going to be close enough towards turn 4 then? Let's have a look. Leclerc's going to go to the outside of turn 4. He's going to try the inside of turn 5, and they're going to go wheel to wheel all the way round turn 6 today. Leclerc's going to try the outside of turn 6. They're still going at it. Oh, Leclerc's off again, Charlie, at turn 6. And he was pushed into the gravel once more as he tries to overtake Sergio Perez.
Perez is not putting up a fight this afternoon.
Again.
Sergio Perez is driving a very wide car this afternoon, and he's certainly driving very aggressively to try and defend from other drivers.
This looked hard racing, Charlie.
I don't think that's going to be a penalty, unless the stewards do say, right, we'll have a look here.
Leclerc's not happy. To be fair to Leclerc, Charlie, he almost had a very high-speed accident. Because he loses it in the gravel, Charlie, and he was very lucky that it didn't go straight to the barriers.
He's very, very lucky.
German Nancy's overtaken Stroll, Bottas radio. And it's turn 6 incident, Charlie, involving Perez and Leclerc has been noted.
Oh, not crazy. That's just Perez. Could this be another penalty for Sergio? Jesus.
And Charlie, we're just confirming, we've received news from Mercedes that Lewis Hamilton has indeed got damage to the rear end of his W12.
Yeah. Bottas, though, doesn't seem to be closing in on him at the moment that much.
Right.
He's very
Charlie,
close.
the Turn 6 incident that was noted is now under investigation by the stewards as Hamilton's gone off at Turn 1 and just about keeps it out the barriers.
Hamilton's really struggling.
And if he did have damage, he's now got a lot more because there is stuff flying off the back of that Mercedes now.
It's Hamilton's really struggling. Bottas is going to close right up to him now, I reckon.
Hamilton radio. Hamilton's asked to pit, Charlie, as the clerks come in. The clerk's in. He's slow, Charlie, for the Sainz, sorry. I got confused. Sainz.
Sainz is pitting.
2.5 seconds, 2.6 seconds was the gap. As we head on to lap 50, black and white flag for Nikita Mazepin for violating track limits.
Nikita Mazepin certainly enjoying his weekend of violating track limits.
Nikita Mazepin is joining the action in the stewards room now as well. As Sainz is going to try the outside, Pierre Gasly at turn 4. And unlike his teammate, he's got the job done this time.
Yeah.
Sonoda, sorry, it was Gasly getting past Russell. So Sainz past Sonoda, Gasly past Russell, Russell up to 12, down to 12, sorry.
Yeah, so Hamilton not going to make this tyre last and now sets his best lap of the race.
So Hamilton said he's not going to make this tyre last and it's just gone his personal best lap of the race.
Oh.
Reverse psychology, reverse motivation.
We're having a look at the rear end of the chart of the W12, Charlie. There is damage to the rear wing.
Is Hamilton going to pit again? That's the question, or will he stay out?
Bottas radio. Right, so Valtteri has been told race Lewis then. So Toto Wolff has given the green light for the Mercedes to go racing, and hopefully we won't get a repeat of 2016 where they collided up at turn 3. Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton that year, though. So Bottas given permission to race his teammate. I wonder if Hamilton will decide to pit now, Charlie. And Bottas has got DRS, and he's not going to be close enough to his fellow Mercedes teammate up until turn 4. Russell up to 11th, Charlie, because Vettel pitted.
God, he's so close.
It's incredibly tight in the midfield battle, Charlie.
Come on, George. Can he get a point today? I really want Williams to get a point after their difficult...
21 seconds, the gap out in front. Hamilton needs this safety car more than ever now. Bottas radio. So Hamilton's been told to let Valtteri by at turn 1. He hasn't done it, but Sergio Perez has received another 5-second time, Charlie, for forcing another driver off the track. Bottas is going to go for it, turn 3 on Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton, does he let him through? The two Mercedes are going wheel to wheel towards turn 4. And it's going to be Valtteri Bottas who goes down the inside of turn 4 and gets the job done. But the two Mercedes got very close, Charlie. And Lando Norris is now on the back of his tail as well.
Wow. Has Norris taken his penalty yet?
Yes, he has.
So Norris is back into this now.
Sonoda's in, Charlie, which promotes Russell to the points paying position.
Wow, this race is starting to get spicy now.
As Vettel steals the fastest lap. And now Bottas steals the fastest lap.
Bottas 22 seconds off the lead.
And Lando Norris is going to get past Yuki Tsunoda. He's also on the tail of Lewis Hamilton up towards turn 3. And the McLaren is so close to the back of the Mercedes. But Hamilton's crucially got DRS because of the back marker. But is it going to be Lando Norris or Lewis Hamilton? Norris goes to the outside of turn 4. He can't quite do it. But Hamilton lives to survive another day on the podium. But towards turn 5, Lando Norris goes down the inside of turn 6 and gets past Lewis Hamilton. Lando Norris back up to the points paying positions. Podium position, sorry. And Lewis Hamilton is down to 4.
Wow. Well done.
Hamilton's in, Charlie. Hamilton's pitting
Hamilton's pitting. Wow, interesting. He shouldn't lose too much time, though, because Perez is 56 seconds off the lead.
Lance Stroll's been given a 5-second penalty, Charlie, for speeding in the pit lane.
Speeding in the pit lane? Blimey, wow.
Hamilton's in. And
Sergio Perez has jumped Daniel Ricciardo as well, so he's got to make an impact and get 10 seconds.
Perez has jumped Ricciardo, interestingly. So Hamilton's going to try and get the fastest lap. Is he going to come out ahead of the Haas? Yes, he is.
So he's got 10 seconds to come then, Sergio Perez.
Perez has got 10 seconds to pull on Ricciardo.
Just said Norris, although he's just benefited from this overtake he's done in Hamilton, he says brake pedals gets him wrong. Is that because he was following close and not getting the fresh air in to cool the distance?
And Lando Norris, Charlie, has reported high brake temperatures. Is that because he was running close to the Mercedes for a long time? He's not in free air though, Charlie, because he's chasing down Valtteri Bottas.
Oh, wow. Bottas is only a couple of seconds ahead of Norris here. This is interesting.
1.5, Charlie, is the gap, and it's coming down.
Wow. Interesting. Wow, Norris is really flying.
We knew that Mercedes and Lewis would struggle, Charlie, at the Red Bull Ring. Race control. Yuki Tsunoda's under investigation for crossing the pit lane entry line and the pit lane entry again, Charlie.
That's crazy.
I think we must be close to the most penalties in a single race, surely.
Probably a grid penalty going for Yuki Tsunoda. He's not enjoying that pit lane today.
No, he isn't. I'm sure it will probably be another 5-second time penalty.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's got Valtteri Bottas in second, ahead of Lando Norris. Hamilton is in fourth. Perez.
So at the moment we got Verstappen from Bottas, from Norris, from Hamilton, from Perez, from Ricciardo, from Leclerc, from Sainz, from Gasly, from Russell, from Alonso, from Raikkonen, from Vettel, from Tsunoda, from Stroll, from Giovinazzi, from Latifi, from Schumacher, and Mazepin and Esteban Ocon, who made contact on that one and brought out the safety car, is out of this race.
Trying to actually keep the record of it is a bit.
I think he's got one for the turn 4, and I think he's got one for the turn 6 as well. And confirmation, Lewis Hamilton at 1:81. I'm not sure that's quick enough because he was only a couple of.
It's a time penalty, Charlie, for Yuki Tsunoda of 5 seconds for crossing the pit lane entry line, and he's got another one, Charlie, as Yuki Tsunoda. So it now stands at 10 seconds.
Wow. Just a tweet coming in here from Accelerate Trade Price Cars driver Rick Parfitt Jr., who has just tweeted about Lando Norris's penalty. The 5-second penalty for Lando Norris is rubbish, ridiculous. That was earlier on in the race.
Let's have a look at Yuki Tsunoda again, Charlie. Oh, it's tight, Charlie.
Oh, my goodness.
It is centimetres.
They'd have to measure that. They'd have to get a measuring tape. They'd have to get a ruler out and measure how much he crossed the pit lane entry. That is crazy.
All I can say is the drivers' meeting at Silverstone is going to be very spicy because it's kind of ridiculous, the amount of penalties we've had given out today, and some of them no need for a penalty.
Ridiculous, crazy.
And Charles Leclerc is almost goes straight to the back of Daniel Ricciardo, but Leclerc is going to be close this time, and he might try the outside at turn 4. Oh, he almost goes into the back of him, Charlie. He almost doesn't get it stopped. It might have looked closer than it was, but that was centimeters as well from contact.
Jesus Christ.
Let's have a look then. Oh, Charlie, it is close.
It's very, very tight. I can just say that.
It is literally a meter away from it ending in disaster. But Leclerc is going to be close to Ricciardo up at turn 3 again. And Leclerc is going to be close again at turn 4. He thinks about it again and again. They almost touch. Charles Leclerc is not afraid, Charlie, to have a go at turn 4 this afternoon. And the gap is 26 seconds out in front, but I don't think anyone's really paying attention to the front runners at the moment, are they, Charlie?
No. It is really interesting how close it is between all the drivers.
And we had a bit of a bore fest last week. This might just be an excite fest this week, as we're looking at the battle for 6th place now of Leclerc and Ricciardo. And Gasly's not that far behind. And Gasly and Russell, Charlie, could also be getting in on this party in a minute as well. And Carlos Sainz.
Getting really tight now.
We forgot to mention you can vote your driver of the day, f1.com/vote. It closes in 10 laps. And where is Ricciardo and Leclerc? Stands at half a second the gap at the moment. We're looking at Max Verstappen at the moment. We haven't seen him in a little while. Verstappen radio. Oh, Verstappen's in, Charlie. Verstappen's pitting. They've got more than enough margins. Is this a safety stop for the Red Bull guys?
Potentially. What's the pit stop like?
So, here they go then. Good stop, 2.2 seconds. And Kimi Raikkonen has been shown a black and white flag for a violation of track limits.
That means don't do it again.
So we got Nikita Mazepin and Kimi Raikkonen on a black and white flag. It wouldn't surprise me if we see any more time penalties this afternoon.
Verstappen's come out 7 seconds clear of Bottas, so he's still
and a much fresher rubber as well.
Yeah, so Verstappen will lay down some probably. Is he going for fastest lap? Maybe.
He's already got it. So I think it's a safety stop, isn't it, for what happened in Baku? And Alonso is going to try the outside of George Russell at turn 6. And they almost touch at turn 7 and 8. But George Russell just about hangs on.
Oh, this is going to be the one for 10th. Russell really desperately wants that point.
He would still get it at the moment, Charlie, because of Perez's penalties.
Really?
Yes, he is within 10 seconds of Sergio Perez, but there's still 10 laps to go, and he's gone off as Fernando Alonso at turn 1. He's rejoined, but and the clerk almost runs straight into the back of Daniel Ricciardo once more.
God, they're starting to get impatient now.
They are, and Alonso's gained time all the way up the straight, so he is now back within touching distance. He's going to try the outside at turn 4. He can't quite do it. Verstappen asking him to go for fastest lap. But he's already got it, so he doesn't need to go for it.
George Russell is driving the widest Williams F1 car in history to keep his 10th place.
He is, Charlie. You're right there. And Russell and Alonso really battling out it now. And they've got Max Verstappen coming up behind them, could ruin this battle. As they're going to have to let Verstappen through, aren't they?
Yeah.
And he's going to lap them just as Alonso is going to try to overtake on at turn 4. And Alonso's let Verstappen through. And I'm pretty sure George Russell will let Verstappen through as well. But Verstappen hasn't got past the Williams, Charlie, towards turn 4, actually. So Verstappen is losing a chunk of time stuck behind the Williams because they're going through the middle sector where it's really hard for the back markers to let another driver through. Now Verstappen gets through, and the battle between Alonso and Russell, which wasn't too affected, can now resume. But Russell's got DRS as well because of Verstappen, actually, Charlie.
Yeah.
He's got the DRS down the straight. How long can he fend off?
And Russell's got even more DRS down the straight. Down the second straight up towards turn 2. And Alonso, Norris, Charlie, has been quiet for the past few laps. Is only 1.5 seconds behind the Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas.
Wow. Bottas is probably starting to struggle now on his time.
As Alonso tries it on Russell at turn 4. Can't quite do it. Are they going to do battle at turn 5 like they did last time? No, they're not. Russell holds on. He lives to survive another lap of the Red Bull Ring.
Ferrari lets Sainz pass Leclerc to have a go at Daniel Ricciardo on fresher tyres.
So George Russell's now out of the gap of Sergio Perez of 10 seconds. So he's got to keep Alonso behind him if he wants to stay in these points-paying positions then. Verstappen radio. So apparently Verstappen pitted because there was cuts on his rear right tyre. They just don't want to take that risk, do they, again, Charlie?
No, doesn't want to be like the Silverstone last year. Remember what happened with Lewis Hamilton?
Or Baku this year.
I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting.
And Alonso's going to try on it around the outside of George Russell. But Russell stays ahead and doesn't put the car in the gravel this time. So, the two Ferraris on the tail of Daniel Ricciardo now as well. It's not been a great race out in front, but I can tell you in the midfield it's been quite entertaining. There's been battles left, right and centre. And the two Ferraris are going to go for it. As Sainz goes down the inside of Charles Leclerc at turn 3. We didn't see that coming, did we, Charlie?
No, Sainz looks like he's got thrown.
But Leclerc's got DRS.
But Leclerc will fight back.
Try at turn 4, but he doesn't want to collide with his teammate, does he? Science radio.
Sainz will probably have enough speed to get through. Much younger tyres. He's on the compound. This a bit softer, giving him a bit more grip. And here's.
And Alonso and Russell are going to go for it again. Alonso tries the outside at turn 4. Again, he can't quite do it.
Russell's holding on. God, this is really... If you're George Russell right now, you are probably wanting this race to just end as soon as possible.
I think you are, Charlie. It would be Williams' first points in Formula One since Germany 2019, which Robert Kubica scored. There's 5 laps to go here at the Red Bull Ring, and it's a Red Bull that is dominating proceedings this afternoon. It's a race, Charlie, that I actually don't want to end at the moment.
It's going to be interesting. The race is literally a few laps to go now. It's going to get really tense, I reckon.
And Alonso is going to get really close to George Russell. He goes wide at turn 3. How is that going to affect Fernando's run? He's going to go to the outside at turn 4, is Fernando. Can't quite do it. It's young brain versus wise old brain at this moment in time. Alonso knows where to place that car. And he's going to try the outside at turn 6. Again, can't quite do it.
Norris still hasn't got past Bottas at the moment.
No, he hasn't. That gap's dropped to about 2 seconds now. The gap would be about 28 points out in front. Going into Silverstone in Max Verstappen's favour. It's looking quite comfortable, isn't it, for the Red Bull driver? And Alonso is going to try the outside of George Russell at turn 3. He's not quite done it, but he's closer than ever before this time. And he's going to try the outside of turn 4. Gets the job done, but Russell's going to fight back. And this time, Alonso does get the job done.
Oh.
And George Russell's pushed down to 11th.
Oh, no. That's just gutting. Alonso, though, gets through.
That someone puts it in the gravel is in the top 10. And Alonso went late into turn 3. That paid off for him, didn't it? And George Russell tried to switch back, but he just couldn't quite do it. Great racing as Leclerc and Ricciardo. We've seen this battle going all after Sainz and Ricciardo. Sorry, Hamilton radio. And Perez is catching Hamilton as well, Charlie, now.
Interesting.
Say Ricciardo's driven a super race today, started 13 in 6th place at the moment.
Ricciardo's driven a super race, started 13, now 6th.
Just needs to improve his qualifying if he wants to get up higher in the race results.
He does, Charlie. He's done a fantastic job this afternoon. Can he hold the 2 Ferraris behind him? He's going to have to hold off Carlos Sainz, who's really close, coming out of turn 3 and going down that straight towards turn 4. But is he going to be close enough? No. Where does he pick it, Charlie? Where does he make the move, Carlos Sainz, to get past Ricciardo?
Potentially turn 3 or turn 4.
That would be your best bet, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And would you believe it, Charlie? We're almost at the last lap of the race.
Wow, that's crazy.
or he can ride on board with driver Kimi Raikkonen. Oh, they touch. He's collided, Charlie, with Nicholas Latifi, and Latifi's carried on, but wouldn't surprise me if Raikkonen's got some front wing damage as we move on to the final lap of this Austrian Grand Prix. This battle between Sainz and Ricciardo is going to go right to the line. Then it's going to be Sainz from Ricciardo. Sainz is going to try the outside of turn 4. This time gets past the McLaren driver and puts his Ferrari up to 6th place. But Ricciardo is going to not give up and he's going to go right to the line. Sainz radio. They're going to get one more lap in because Max Verstappen hasn't crossed the line yet. The Red Bull Ring is on its feet as Verstappen comes towards Jochen Rindt corner, turn 9 for the last time. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. I wonder what's happened, but Max Verstappen wins in the Austrian Grand Prix. Something's happened in sector 2 though, Charlie. I think Raikkonen and Vettel have collided, Charlie, in sector 2. Yes, they have. Raikkonen and Vettel have collided. And Valtteri Bottas comes home in second. Lando comes home in third for McLaren.
What a result for McLaren. Well done, Lando.
It's podium number 4. So it's Verstappen from Bottas, from Norris, from Hamilton, from Perez, from Sainz, from Ricciardo. Let's have a listen to Verstappen.
Perez got past Sainz, interestingly.
$28 points, the gap at the top of the championship.
More than a win.
29 actually, sorry, 29.
Oh, Verstappen's extending his lead. This is hurting Mercedes now.
Right, let's have a look. There's an incident on the last lap. Kimi Raikkonen, let's see what happened. Does he collide with Sebastian Vettel? Oh, Charlie, it's a horrible accident. And at turn 4, and they are lucky that they didn't clout the barriers.
Cool.
But it's a horrible accident. And Vettel almost went over.
I've got to see the onboards of that crash to get more of an idea who's at fault for this.
But why isn't Mercedes also to let Bottas go through, accept the defeat for Hamilton if he's picked up that damage? But where do you stop Verstappen though? He is maturing, he has got a gap in the championship, and he has been outstanding.
And it wouldn't surprise me, Charlie, if the stewards take a look at that one as well.
5 to 6 laps away from having 5 in a row.
Well, this time last year,
It's 4 in a row for Max Verstappen. And it's been 3 in a row, sorry. It's been a pure masterclass throughout our 2 weeks at Austria. But Charlie, it's time for us to say goodbye now, and we'll see you on a week on Friday for qualifying at Silverstone. Thank you very much for joining us, Charlie. We'll see you next time when Formula One returns.